live from New York. Live from New York, it's your host, Dr. Sherry Mamjara Taal. Welcome back, everyone, to the Africa Take Action podcast. And it's Saturday night here in New York, a rainy Saturday night. Thanks for spending the evening with me. And, if you haven't met me before, if this is your first time tuning in, I am a nurse doctor, and I'm a mental health professional who is dedicated to making a positive impact on the mental health community in Africa and around the globe. Sorry about my dancing hair tonight, but anyway, we'll get through this. So on today's podcast, I would like to discuss ways that we can protect our emotional health. Okay, and all week we've been talking about, I've been releasing videos about emotional regulation, talking about emotional health. So today we'll explore more ways to avoid secondary trauma. Okay, so that's our topic for tonight. And let's look for ways to maintain our emotional resilience. Okay, let's take a look at a video I have set up for you before we continue, and then I'll be right back. Okay.
Interconnected world news has become as ubiquitous as the air we breathe, yet this constant stream of information isn't always beneficial. It can take a toll on our mental health, leading to a condition called secondary trauma. Just as it sounds, secondary trauma occurs when repeated exposure to distressing news induces symptoms akin to post-traumatic stress disorder. This phenomenon, known as secondary trauma, is more common than you might think. So what exactly is secondary trauma and how does it occur? Let's dive in. Secondary trauma isn't a direct result of experiencing a traumatic event. Instead, it emerges from the emotional and psychological stress of absorbing traumatic experiences indirectly. Picture a sponge soaking up water. In this case, you're the sponge, and the water represents the traumatic experiences you're exposed to. Over time, these absorbed experiences can cause distress, similar to the aftermath of a direct traumatic event. In essence, secondary trauma can leave you feeling as though you've experienced the traumatic event yourself. Interestingly, this isn't just a global phenomenon, it's prevalent in Africa too. Professional Africans from Lagos to Nairobi, Johannesburg to Dakar are not immune to the effects of secondary trauma. They consume the same news, share the same human reactions to distressing events. Their experiences echo globally, a testament to our shared humanity. They too take measures to manage this impact, seeking balance between staying informed and maintaining mental wellness. In Africa, like elsewhere, the effects of secondary trauma are real and impactful. So how can we guard ourselves against secondary trauma? Here's the game plan. Limit your news consumption to a manageable level. If it's weighing heavy, don't hesitate to seek professional help. Prioritize your self-care routines, be it a morning jog or meditating under the evening sky. And finally, balance the heavy news with positive, uplifting content. Listen to that inspiring podcast or watch that heartwarming movie. Remember, it's not just about staying informed, it's about maintaining your mental health too. For more support on managing secondary trauma, connecting with Dr. Taal, a mental health care provider, is a great idea. You can also visit websites like taalcare.com, which offer a plethora of resources and assistance. These resources are designed to help you understand, manage, and mitigate secondary trauma effectively. Remember, not alone in this journey. Help is just a click away.
Yes, and we're back. So, a lot of us have been following the current events around the world, the news. It's not looking good this week. I haven't been watching it. The only thing I watch is really Nigerian news, and that's pretty bad too. But I mean, it really got bad this week. So I spoke to a lot of my patients, and they're worried, they're, upset, they don't know, they have fear. We just got over COVID-19, the pandemic, and now we are faced with, some type of war in different countries. So what do we do? Do we go to bed every night, have nightmares, feel anxious, feel nervous every day, feel paranoid? That would be the next thing, when people start feeling as if the world is coming to an end, right? So we don't want that. There's ways to avoid those feelings and thoughts and emotions. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. It's, it's terrible what's happening as far as, the attacks on one country and the response of the other. And if people were to, take better action, better steps, we would all be fighting for them. They wouldn't even have to fight. We'll just say, you sit down, because I'm ex-military, and when we have a good cause, even if it's our allies, we will, go after people on your behalf. Okay, so the response that I'm seeing, it didn't even have to go that way, because other people was willing to, and probably still are, to, step in and assist. And on the other hand, it's like no one's hearing the other party, and things should have been in the process, to recognize the rights of others. So we are in this global community together, and no one has the right to take a life, take anyone out, commit ethnic cleansing, or, anything of the sort. Okay, who gives anyone that right? You just take that right? I don't think so. Okay, we've talked about this before. Just because everybody believes certain things, everybody in a certain group or from a certain tribe believes certain things should be done a certain way, doesn't mean they're right. It could be 1 million, it could be 40 million. Okay, they could be dead wrong. Okay, so yeah, we have to speak up, and also be sure to take care of ourselves. Okay, and there's appropriate ways to do it. Okay, it doesn't always mean violence, and until everyone could learn that, okay, maybe there can be solutions. Maybe people will listen to one another. Maybe people will try to understand and work together, right? Instead of everything being a one-sided type of approach. Okay, so what are some strategies to build emotional resilience? Okay, let me tell you, I'm glad you asked. Okay, do your self-care routine. Okay, when we say self-care, we mean, work out, try to exercise, listen to instrumental music, do crossword puzzles, go to social activities, visit friends and family. Yeah, so that's what we mean by self-care, self-love, go to the spa, right? Let's see, seek support. Sometimes we do need more support. So right now you're watching certain things on the news, you're hearing these current events, and you're feeling like you're getting this secondary trauma where you're paranoid, you're nervous, you're anxious, and you can't sleep good. Your job performance is low, is down, and your mind is wandering off. So seek support, because sometimes when we can't do, our own self-talk, right, and tell our brain, I've listened to Dr. Rick Wallace a number of times, and he's said, a lot of times, maybe 60% or more of the times that our brain tells us something, it's really not a threat. Okay. And maybe, I think he said 4% or 6% of the time, maybe there is a real threat, and we wake up every day and it doesn't happen. So there's people out there promoting, there's World War III coming, but you have to tell your brain, did anyone declare World War III? No, so I'm just going to continue living my life, being productive, doing all that I can to have peace, okay, in my home, in my community, as far as you can, reach, right? And yeah, this is what you can do, okay? If you're an elder, write articles, journal articles, counteracting news articles, because we still have a planet. We're still here on Earth because, our forefathers, our ancestors, they were able to, make it through without a whole lot of destruction, like annihilation, So we don't want to go that route, and we shouldn't. There's no reason to, So seek support from professionals. Okay. Let's see. Maintain a positive outlook. Hopefully you can still hear me. And also, let's see, have healthy news consumption. Okay. All right. So let's see if you can still hear me. Okay. All right. Let's play our video one more time so we can.
Have you ever considered the psychological implications of your
see.
daily news consumption? In our interconnected world, news has become as ubiquitous as the air we breathe. Yet this constant stream of information isn't always beneficial. It can take a toll on our mental health, leading to a condition called secondary trauma. Just as it sounds, secondary trauma occurs when repeated exposure to distressing news induces symptoms akin to post-traumatic stress disorder. This phenomenon, known as secondary trauma, is more common than you might think. So what exactly is secondary trauma and how does it occur? Let's dive in. Secondary trauma isn't a direct result of experiencing a traumatic event. Instead, it emerges from the emotional and psychological stress of absorbing traumatic experiences indirectly.
Okay, so how do you avoid absorbing traumatic experiences? Try to have balance, stay informed, protect your emotional well-being, and don't allow the news or news reports or bad characters in the world to overwhelm you. So I see some YouTube channels, like I said, flashing things about the world ending and all that. So stay balanced, stay informed, and protect your emotional well-being, because when you do, you'll be better equipped to help others and help those in your family and in your community, right? So if you found this podcast to be helpful, please share, subscribe, and comment. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Join me again tomorrow for more insightful discussions. I'll be welcoming Mr. Charles de Gaulle Gomez here on the Vitalize Africa channel. And Mr. Gomez is a certified social entrepreneur, a peace conflict trainer and business coach, a motivational speaker, and a disability rights inclusion activist. So it's going to be a good discussion with Mr. Charles de Gaulle Gomez tomorrow. So until then, everyone, stay happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise.